Spiritual Center on this snowy February day. Wow, winter finally found its way back. We're glad you're here this morning, and we're going to sing a couple of old kind of unity standards here to get you warmed up. We're going to open up with Michael Robinson's Heart to Heart, Hand in Hand. It's up to me, whichever you want to call it. Heart to heart, hand in hand, every voice, every land, visions clear, one family, God works through every heart and mind. It's up to me. We love those near and far away, in harmony. We act in pain, we share our dreams for all to see. The peace I give, the peace I live, it's up to me. Lift your voice, we'll lift your voice. God works through you, we'll change the world through all we do. The earth is all one family. I'll be the peace I want to see. It's up to me. I'll be the peace I want to see. It's up to me. Good seeing you guys. Thank you for joining along with us this morning. We're going to set you into a little bit more of a meditative mood with a song we really haven't sung for a long time. This old I Am That I Am. See if you can remember this with us here this morning.
Beautiful. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Unity Spiritual Center. I am Tara Weir, and I have the privilege of being your platform assistant today. Here at Unity Spiritual Center, our mission is to transform lives and inspire people to make a positive difference in the world. So I'm glad each and every one of you are here to help support that mission in just your presence. If you would, we'd love to let people know what we're doing and where we're at. So if you would be willing to, on your device, just check in and let them know you're here and that you're on a mission to make the world a better place. And then if you would, silence your phone. Thank you. And also, if your friends want, they can tune in to us live streaming on our website. So you can check that out. Okay, we would like to start by sharing our opening affirmation. I'll say it once, and then if you would, please join me and we'll say it together. There's only one presence and one power active in my life and in the universe, God the good. And together? There is only one presence and one power active in my life and the universe, God the Good. This is our foundational principle, Unity's foundational principle. And one presence, one power, and one life living through and as each one of us. So when we look in each other's eyes, we see that presence. This morning, we're going to hear from Reverend Dr. Jane, the Divine Wink. It's like a wonderful talk. And Dr. Gary will be leading our meditation today. So we are definitely blessed with our home base, the rights. So home base, the rights musically. So grateful they're here. Always a treat, and they will start us off with our community song. So if you are able, if you would like to stand and join us, please do.
You can stand. We're going to sing a little Daniel Lamont here with you guys called God You Are.
Good morning. My name's Linda Tweedy, and I have the announcements. God is in the snowfall. Number one, Island of Sanity. Are you ready to widen your circle of compassion and become an evolutionary in order to help welcome a kinder world into manifestation?
Yes.
Are you willing to share your gifts and talents to create islands of sanity that aid in shifting to a new paradigm of living?
Yes.
Well, then join Reverend Jane to explore those questions in depth at monthly gatherings March 2nd, April 6th, and May 18th at 10 a.m. Those are all Saturdays. The prerequisite for the class includes completing the 21-day Q process and watching the Evolving Paradigm Presentations Part 1 and 2 videos that are available, and you can sign up in the bookstore. The annual meeting, Sunday, February 24th at 1 p.m. After the 11 o'clock service, there will be lunch provided by the youth. Come one, come all. Thank you.
Good morning, all. My name is Al Konigsfeld, and I've been organizing the spirit groups this year. First of all, what is a spirit group? A spirit group is a small group ministry. Somebody hosts, usually at their place, although sometimes at a library or another public building. We get together in small groups to deepen our spiritual compassion. We get together to support one another in being who we truly are. There are a number of ongoing groups here, but there are 3 new groups that are starting. Today is the last day to sign up. You'll find the clipboards on the table in the atrium. Please, if you want to sign up, do it now, because they will start Monday and Wednesday of this week. There are 3 new groups starting. The Monday group is a power of 8. One of the Wednesday groups during the day discusses the Sunday message, and the 3rd group is a 12 powers. So be there or be square. Thank you so much.
So it's a little nerve-wracking when your partner walks to the back of the room and you're ready to sing. He's here. Yay. We have a beautiful song called In the Stillness by Karen Drucker. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace, there is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace, there is peace. And I rest and trust and breathe and know. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is love, there is love. In the stillness of this moment, there is love, there is love. And I rest and trust and breathe and know. In the stillness of this moment, there is love.
So let us begin our meditation by bringing our awareness to our heart space. So as you settle your attention there, be mindful of the breath, your breath. Just allow yourself to breathe in and out with great ease, calm, and settle into this moment. Right now, this sanctuary is filled with heart-centered coherence, with the presence of love. Yesterday, this sanctuary had over 230 people in it, all feeling into their hearts together. And so let us add to this dimension of what we can bring to this energetic field and what it can become for us as we release ourselves into its care and keeping. And so as we bring into our awareness someone or something that we appreciate and allow those feelings to arise and extend themselves beyond our physical self, pouring into this room, let us settle into that sense of presence. The presence that calls us into making a difference, being the one, knowing that our presence matters, allowing Spirit to move through us, to guide us, to direct us, to prosper us, to empower us. And so as we recognize our oneness, our connection, heart to heart, and realize that this energetic field of love and appreciation is the felt sense of our connection and oneness. And as we prepare to enter into a deeper awareness of this presence in the silence, let us become aware of what might be awaiting our recognition, a choice, a decision, a step forward, a stepping away. Whatever is before us that is awaiting our action, our taking charge, our ownership, our moving forward, our expression. Let us await its revelation, its insight, the aha, the epiphany, the voice in the silence. Breathe in and release. Breathe in and release. And so let us release ourselves now into the care and keeping of this presence, this activity of love and this expression of Spirit that right now seeks to lift us all into a greater expression of who and what we've come here to be. And for this, we are grateful. Thank you, God. So it is. Amen.
In the stillness of this moment, there is peace, there is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace, there is peace. And I rest and trust and breathe and know. In the stillness of this moment, there is peace. In the stillness of this moment, there is love, there is love. In the stillness of this moment,
In the stillness of this moment, there is
Thank you. What a beautiful song. I just want to listen to that as our sermon today. How about that? Well, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Albert Einstein tells us that the most important question we can ask ourselves is this: is the universe a friendly place? So let me ask you, what is your answer to that question? Is the universe a friendly place?
Yes.
No. Somebody said no. It's neutral. Oh, okay, got it. And it's perfectly fine to say no. Aren't there days when you would answer that question no? Yes. And the reason I think that he says it's so important for us to find out our answer is because our mindset is very different when we are looking out at the world as a hostile place than it is when we're looking out at it as a friendly place. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. And that mindset carries a lot of clout as to our experience in life. So if I have this belief that life is hostile, what will my experience be? Right? I'm going to run into it a lot. So how we are perceiving the world has an effect as to how we experience that world. Whatever we have a deep belief in becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Well, last week Gary talked about what happens when you make a definite commitment to something in your life. Providence moves. The universe responds. And it responds very often in synchronous ways. My talk title this morning is The Divine Wink. And that refers to synchronistic events and meaningful coincidences that can occur on our spiritual journey when we make a commitment to living our lives as if nothing and no one was against us, as if the universe is friendly. And when we say yes to nothing and no one is against me, when we go all in, things begin to move in unexpected ways. Carl Jung coined the term synchronicity, which means the coincidence in time of two or more causally unrelated events that have the same meaning. It's a pattern of meaningful connection that can't be explained by cause and effect. So certain events in the universe cluster together into meaningful patterns without the normal pushes and pulls of causality, and these synchronicities transcend the normal laws of science, connecting matter in the physical realm with meaning in the metaphysical realm. Matter, meaning, science, spirituality, hand in hand. And in his writing, The Structure and Dynamics of the Psyche, Jung describes how during his research into the collective unconscious, he began to observe coincidences that were connected in such a meaningful way that their occurrence seemed to defy the calculations of probability. The quantum scientist Dean Radin, how many of you are familiar with his work, Dr. Dean Radin? Well, he refers to this phenomenon as entanglement, and he writes about it in his book, Entangled Minds, in which he explores the whole idea of oneness of all creation from a quantum perspective. And as he describes entanglement, he tells an interesting story about two twin brothers who were separated at birth and raised in two different families apart from one another. Each boy was named Jim by his respective parents. Each Jim married a woman named Betty, then went through a divorce and married a woman named Linda. Both of them were firemen, and they each had built a white circular bench around a tree in their backyard. And the question Dr. Radin asks is this: was it genetics that caused this, or was it the entangled mind behind the genetics that created such parallel experiences? Was it communication through the interrelated web of life? Is this an example of interbeingness at work, of a friendly universe? And it seems to make sense that in a unified field of potentiality, two seemingly separate lives, two apparently disconnected events can actually be interconnected in some way. There's communication throughout the web, but we have to pay attention to it. So within this concept of synchronicity is the belief in the ultimate oneness of the universe. And it's important for us to be present to that oneness and to start looking for evidence of it. Are you up for it? Yes. Because you know what? It can be easy to miss. There's a saying that a coincidence is a miracle in which God remains anonymous. So in other words, these can be very subtle. They can be hardly noticeable, and so we don't attach some great meaning to any of it. We don't attribute these things to any kind of a higher communication or guidance from within us. And our deeper essence in that sense remains anonymous. And so we might tend to take these subtle, ordinary chance occurrences for granted, and yet becoming conscious of the reality of coincidences, becoming aware of their message and their meaning is an important step on our spiritual journey. And that awareness comes from being totally present to what is happening in the moment, right now. And so we have to pay attention and look for the meaning. Because those moments can be very serendipitous. Think about it in your own life. You ever had a book fall off a shelf into your hands? Has anybody else had that happen? I mean, that happens to me. Oh, where'd that come from? You ever thought about someone that you haven't seen in a long time, and then that person, what happens? Yeah, they call you up. Have you ever had déjà vu, a feeling you've experienced something before? I read recently that the definition of déjà vu is your future self having a past life regression. Somehow that makes sense to me. How about opening randomly to a page in a book and finding an answer to something? So how many of you have had those kind of things happen? We want to pay attention to those nudges that we get, because you know what? They have the potential to be life-changing in our lives without our really knowing it or seeing it. I read about a woman who had a practice of praying for guidance, and then to get her answer, she would open up a Bible to any page and just point and see what showed up. She was a nurse, and she worked very long shifts. And one night, she came home late from work one night, very exhausted, and she had the next day, 2 days off. Now capture what that feels like, right? And all she could think about was, I am joyfully planning to sleep in as late as I want, and then I'm going to get up and I'm going to stay in my jammies all day long, and I'm just going to putter around and I'm going to declutter my house. How many women love this idea? Yes. And men too. It's not just men, not just women, but I know that feeling so well. My jammies. In fact, this morning I woke up and I thought, oh, it's Monday. And I thought, no, it's not Monday. Yesterday, for those of you who are here, felt like Sunday, but it wasn't Monday today. Anyway, there she was, all planning to do this. But she got into bed and she was so wound up. She couldn't sleep, tossing, turning. Finally, she got up. She went to her Bible, boink, and what she saw was a commentary on a story about King David and how he was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it caused him trouble. That's all that she read. And she wondered about that, closed it up, went back to bed, and then in the next moment she had the idea she needed to go to a volunteer program that she was involved in once a month, and it had to be the next day. And it was the last thing she wanted to do. It meant she had to get up early, she had to drive 40 minutes to be at this thing, and she just didn't want to go. But this prompting, this voice in her just wouldn't let it go. She needed to be there. And so she said, well, I need proof that this is going to happen, and I'm not leaving until I get proof. So there. And so then she went to bed, and she finally fell asleep. Well, at 7 a.m. in the morning, her phone rang. She woke up and right away, who could be calling at this hour? What's the problem? She ran over, answered the phone, and it was just her friend wanting her mother's new phone number. like no emergency. Just for some reason thought 7 a.m. would be fine. So now she's wide awake, and not only that, but adrenaline's coursing through her body, you know, the wake-up, experience. There's no way she's getting back to sleep. So she thought to herself, I may as well go. She got dressed. She went out. Her husband was so surprised to see her up. What are you doing? You're supposed to be sleeping in today. This is your day off. Well, she told him the whole story. She said, I'm going to listen to this. For some reason, I need to be there. Well, he thought it was a little over the top. You can go back to bed. Anyway, off she went. She got in her car, and so she drove, and the whole way she was questioning her own sanity. What am I thinking? And also she was having words with the universe. You ever had words with the universe? All I wanted to do was sleep. One of those. All the way there. Anyway, she just had arrived, had just begun to volunteer when her cell phone rang, and it was her husband. And he said, our house was broken into this morning. Now, the alarm went off. The police were on their way, but they lost their television and some valuables. The rooms had been ransacked, and they had to get their front door fixed. But she was stunned into thinking that what might have happened if she had been sleeping in the main floor bedroom when they came in. She would have been in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so she thanked the voice, and her husband thanked the voice too. Said, way to listen. Now, in our own lives, maybe these coincidences are not quite so dramatic, but if we really look, we can also see that there are serendipitous experiences that we might think of as winks from the divine. And when we really start to keep track of them, we can find they occur in small ways that amuse us and huge ways that amaze us. And it's like coming face to face with the mystery, with the mysterious cosmic moments that can shift us forward in our destiny as we hold to the realization there is a greater mind at work. There's a mystery behind the manifest world, and it's accessible to all of us if we pay attention, if we become present. And as we develop a consciousness of practicing the presence as a way of being, we start to see. We see it. We see how original source shows up. We begin to witness the demonstration of the presence of God moment by moment in very interesting ways. As a ministerial student living at Unity Village about 20 years ago, I did not have a car the whole 2 years I was there. My car had to stay in Canada, and I had to come without it. And so the students in my class became they became used to asking me, whenever they had to go to the airport for the weekend, go home for a weekend, they'd ask me to drive them to the airport and keep their car all weekend and then pick them up. Now, it worked very well for all of us. It was a win-win. And one time, a friend of mine left me her car, and it was the first time she'd done it. So I came home from the airport, and I drove it back to the village, and I parked it in the usual shady spot just outside the women's residence where I lived. And I got out of the car, and I started walking in the house, and I stopped, and I looked back, and I walked back to the car, and I moved the car to a different parking spot. It's just something in me said, don't leave it there. Now, there was nothing better about the second spot. In fact, I was moving from a shady spot to a sunny spot in the middle of the summer. But for some reason, it told me I had to do it. The next morning, when I got up and went outside, I discovered that the tree that it had been parked under had split, and a huge branch came crashing down, and it was right in the parking spot that the car had been originally. There was the car, a few spots away, just safe and sound. Now, you can imagine my surprise when I saw that. I was shocked. I couldn't believe my eyes because there was nothing telling me that that tree was ailing in any way. It didn't look precarious at all. But I sure am glad I didn't have to explain to my friend, I trashed your car and, it wasn't my fault. So those nudges that we receive can defy rational thought. It doesn't make sense to go back in the car and move it. It doesn't make sense to go volunteering when you're wanting to sleep. So the problem we can run into is this, that our rational mind sets up almost an invisible barrier, in a sense, and stops us from seeing. It puts the message on mute, in a sense. And so, but here's the thing, there's a deeper intelligence at play here. We can trust that. It's within us. And our job is to trust it, to know that the universe is a friendly place, to listen for the loving voice and to sink into gratitude and be willing to follow that guidance. And gratitude is a big part of this. These synchronous events have been occurring all along in our lives, just waiting for us to start paying attention to them and to feel the deep gratitude that the universe has our back, and to live from this perspective that the universe is friendly, that it responds to us. Do you see how that opens up this path for transformation? It's truly living, there is nothing and no one against us. It's proving that to be the truth. And as we listen for the guidance, the direction of the greater mind, trusting, following its promptings, we begin to take inspired action and the most amazing results can come forth. This is how we make a difference in life, by remaining aware and present to whatever's happening and what is mine to do now, right now. What is mine to do? And then it's all about being responsive to the answer we get, being willing, being open, being coachable. Imagine being coachable by the universe, as Maria Namath puts it. Are you willing to be coached by the universe? So, we need to be open to this, open to being guided, and not with some preconceived idea of the answer. You know, it's not show me the way, but only the way I want it to be. That's typically how we do it. It's just show me, and then I'm willing. I'm willing to see where I'm being led. I'm willing to be led. And it comes from spending time in the silence, listening, watching for these synchronistic events, paying attention to their meaning, and being willing to follow that path we're being directed on and not let the voice of fear get in the way. Listening for, trusting that loving voice to guide us. So divine winks are signposts. They're reminding us that we're on the right path. They're the breadcrumbs to a deeper dimension of who we are. And they're very exciting as they capture our attention, because these little messages from Spirit remind us of the reality that truly underlies the world of form, no matter what the outer appearance is telling us. There is something greater within which all of us live and move and have our being. We're swimming in it right now. It's our very aliveness. It's originating source. It's divine intelligence. It's infinite mind, but by whatever name, it is closer to you than your very breath right now. And it's just awaiting your recognition. Isn't that cool? Yes. Seriously, I can't think of anything cooler right now than that. And so it's about dropping breadcrumbs from the divine, and guess what? You get to ask for gluten-free if you want. So when we live our lives from a place of expectancy, knowing there are no ordinary moments, those serendipitous events begin to emerge more fully as we shine the light of conscious awareness on them. And you know what? Our destiny can be written by these kinds of events, by chance meetings, by words spoken by a stranger next to you on a bus that has some truth for you to hear, an unexpected meeting with someone that led to a new job. When in your life have you had those kinds of synchronistic events happen that have changed your life? And when you look back, hindsight, you see, wow, it's amazing. I mean, how different my life might have been if I hadn't left that job when I did. Look where it led me. Or if I hadn't met my best friend that day, I took a different route to work. Or if I'd missed the bus that I met my future spouse. I mean, have you ever considered how different your life might be if just one single thing had changed? And so things that appear to us as boringly ordinary right now could actually end up being the linchpin that transforms our life. This very moment, if we could all look back on it sometime and go, wow, that's when it happened. Wouldn't that be the coolest thing? When you think of all the seemingly chance occurrences that had to happen just for us to be together in one room this morning, it kind of boggles the mind. So we should all walk in here every Sunday in a state of perpetual astonishment. Are you in for it? Yes, it's astonishing. There was an interesting movie that came out in the late 90s called Sliding Doors with Gwyneth Paltrow. Anybody see that movie? So it consisted of two parallel stories happening at the same time. One of the stories, she loses her job and she goes home on the subway and she just makes the train in time. The second story, she loses her job and she's heading for the train, but she gets knocked down by someone and she misses it by seconds. And these two stories evolve from that point, showing how different life can be just by the chance missing of a train. Interesting story. So seemingly random events from this, seemingly random events that don't appear to be anything out of the ordinary can actually be the links that could lead us to our destiny in life. But don't take my word for it. Don't believe a word I say. This is start living your life as if that were true. I want to challenge you to prove this. Either way. Are you up for it? Yes. I knew it. Something told me that you were. So this week, I want to invite you to walk in the awareness that every single moment of your life, the universe has your back. And whatever happens, ask yourself, if the universe was a friendly place, what might be the blessing that's seeking to emerge from this situation? All right? If this was for me, what would the gift be? Ask for guidance to help you to understand. And from that awareness, become curious. And notice the breadcrumbs. Pay attention to the meaning of the events that are happening. Start a divine wink journal. Keep track. Keep track of every single synchronicity, from tiny ones to gigantic ones. And then feel deep gratitude as you do. This is a gratitude-centric practice. And I want to hear about these synchronicities that show up in your life. So please make note of them. I've even made, for those who would like one, a Divine Winks journal page. Look at that. I worked hard on this today. And there's a pile of them, the back table of the room as you're going out. There's some. Help yourself if you want to try that. Those of you who are watching online, you can go to the Contact Us button on the website and you can send in your descriptions of synchronicities that are showing up in your path. So what we pay attention to expands, and as we let the friendly universe coach us, we begin to see the transformation that is happening. Are you ready for it? Yes. Let's do it.
Transforming lives and making a difference in the world. That's what this spiritual practice is all about, right? So here's the synchronicity. That word was taught to me when I was a kid by my dad. And today was the first day I actually thought to invite my dad to watch through live streaming. He lives in Florida. So he's on live streaming right now. Hi, Dad. Hey, Dad. So thank you for teaching me about synchronicity. And here you are, seeing where we are living in it. So I'm grateful. And I'm so grateful for this community of unity and all of you looking out, seeing all of your faces. We as a unity community stand for peace in the presence of conflict, for love in the presence of hatred, for forgiveness in the presence of injury. Unity honors the many names that we use to describe that presence, the many paths to God, for we know that there is really only one power, one presence, and one life. So whoever you are and wherever you are in this moment, you are welcome here. We love to welcome and greet each other, and we also like to acknowledge and welcome those that are here for the first time. Is there anybody here today for the first time? You'd be willing to acknowledge that and raise your hand? Wonderful. Welcome. Great. So, on the outside of the packet that you just received, there is a form, and you can fill that out. That will add you to our weekly newsletter, and that will put you on our mailing list. And we also get a quarterly newsletter. So if you're interested, you can just fill that out and drop it in the love offering bag that comes by as it comes around. So, instead of giving a donation today. And then also after service, you can take that packet to the barista stand and get a free beverage of your choice and meet some of our lovely people in our community. And you can take it to the bookstore also and get a CD of today's service. So that's up to you if you'd like that. And if you have any questions, you can ask anyone that is wearing a yellow scarf, and really anyone that kind of, looks welcoming, which is just about everybody. Most of us have an idea, and if they don't have an answer, they can find someone that does. So we're really glad you joined us today. And if you didn't happen to fill out a name tag, I really highly encourage this, because you can add one in the seat pocket in front of you. There's some blank ones. It is a great way to start conversation and to let people know that you are welcoming. So even if you've been coming a long time, those new folks and those new faces will appreciate that. And we've already said hello to my father. Hello, everybody else online, all of the viewers. We're really glad that you've joined us today. So now we get the opportunity to welcome and greet each other. So you can do that with a high five, a handshake, a namaste, however you would like. Just show that body language and introduce yourself. So please stand if you could and join
We're
us.
all friends here. Everybody, please stand and join us if you can. And here we go. We are all friends here. There are no strangers once you walk inside that door. We welcome you to linger in our family of love, and hold you in our hearts the way you are. We are all friends here. There are no strangers once you walk inside that door. We welcome you to linger in our family of love, and hold you in our hearts the way you are. All right, high five it out. The way you are, sing it out. We are all friends here. There are no strangers once you walk inside that door. We welcome you to linger in our family. the way you are. Yes, we don't need to linger in the memory of love. And hold in our hearts the way you are.
All right, so as you're having your seat, now is the time that we celebrate the abundance that we each are and that we each have, and to create that beautiful flow of giving and receiving. So I invite you to hold in your hand your love offering, or in your mind, if you're one of those that have the automatic giving or the automatic transfer. Just picture that, visualize that abundance that is yours to share. And if you're online joining us, please use that donate tab on the website. And so as we take this moment to sink into our hearts and bring forth a feeling of gratitude and generosity for all that we have, let's say together our love offering blessing. I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I give and receive. I give thanks for the abundance that is mine to share.
So, Tawny, you want to give me just a minute? We're going to do a song here that's been remade several times in his Black History Month dedication, as I promised you. A song originally by Curtis Mayfield, recorded by The Impressions, and also Seal. And so if you can figure out those three combinations, we'll do this song for you. People get ready, there's a train a-coming. I don't need no baggage, you just get on board. And all you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. I don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. People get ready for the train to Jordan. It's picking up passengers now from coast to coast. Well, now faith is the key. Open the doors and board. Well, now there's hope for those who love the most. People get ready, and there's a train a-coming. I don't need no baggage, or just to get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesels humming. I don't need no ticket, you just thank the Lord. So people get ready, there's a train a-coming. I don't need no baggage, you just get on board. All you need is faith. Well, I don't need no ticket, I just thank the Lord. So people are getting ready for the train that's coming. Well, I don't need no baggage, just get on board. All you need is faith to hear the diesel humming. I don't need a ticket, you just thank the Lord. Ooh, yeah. Well, people get ready, our people get ready.
much, you guys. That is amazing. People get ready, right? We're all a seed. This is such a cool thing about this community. And you know, in the spirit groups graphic, there's a daisy, one of those, or I guess it's a dandelion. And the dandelion has gone to seed. And the whole concept is that each of those seeds in the dandelion go out and make more. As we know, they are fabulously good at that. So we are all part of that dandelion and seeding as we go out. So we give thanks to the gifts that have come in to us today through all the service and through the financial contribution and the gifts that will bless those that have given them. So we give thanks to this divine flow, and we are so grateful. And so it is. Thank you. Okay, so as we're giving thanks for these gifts that we're receiving here, today we also want to give time to thank those in service of our ministry. So today we're actually acknowledging a spirit group. This is a spirit group that came in, and as our service project, we cleaned the nursery. The group came in. Is anyone in here that's from my spirit group that was participated in that? Oh, not this service.
Well,
okay.
You did.
Well,
All right, let's give
there's a
this her.
story. I coordinated it, and I had it all arranged, and then I forgot to put it on my calendar. So, yeah, they text me like, where are you? I'm like, sorry, I forgot it. I guess I was just meant to coordinate it. So, you're welcome. Yeah, so anyway, yes, so they did a great job. And that's one of the gifts of a spirit group, is that we get to then, as a community of a circle, then we get to spread our seeds and share. So, okay, there's the truth. I feel so much better now that everyone knows that. Okay, so let's see. Our chaplains today are Amber and Ocean, two amazing, beautiful women spirits. These two lovely ladies are available, so if you have something that's heavy on your heart or something you want to celebrate, or maybe you want to ask them your question and hold that question with them to see what the universe says to answer that question and help guide you. These two ladies will be available after the service for that reason. Thank you for your service, both of you. So if you also want to put in a prayer request, you can do that with the little slip that's in front of you there in the pocket in front of you. Fill one of those out. You can put it in this box here, or there's a box in the atrium. You can just drop it in that box. Our prayer team here, our local team, will pray on it for 7 days. Then it will be sent to Silent Unity, and they'll pray on it for 30 days. So that's a lot of prayer, power, and intention. So please avail yourselves and fill that out for yourself or for somebody else. Now, we're also have this wonderful service that if you've requested or somebody has requested to be visited in the hospital, you can also fill out one of those forms, and someone will go and visit them in the hospital. So that's available as well. Let's see. The children, one of the best times, our next generation of love and goodness.
We are singing, for this love is our light. We are singing, for this love is our light. We are singing, for this love is our light. We are singing, for this love is our light. We are singing, whoa, we are singing, there they are.
We are singing, whoa, we are singing, for this love is our light. We are singing, for this joy is our light. We are singing, for this joy is our light. We are singing, for this joy is our light. We are singing, for this joy is our light. We are singing, whoa, we are singing, for this joy is our light. We are singing, whoa, we are singing, for this joy is our light. We are singing, for this joy is our light. We are singing, for this joy is our light.
You can just see the joy as they walk in and feel the energy, right? So Good morning, guys and girls and kids and adults and amazing people that have been working with the little ones. Good morning. We're so glad each one of you are here and being who you are. Yes, and so we want to give you a divine blessing, a children's blessing. So if you would, please join me. Oh, right, my bad. An announcement. There's a crew.
Okay, hi everyone. So YOU is bringing back Kiss the Pig, which will be a fundraiser to help send us to events. We will be doing the service March 3rd, and at the end of the service, one YOU member and one adult will kiss the pig. You vote with your dollars, so whoever has the most money in their buckets, which are right here, will be the one who kisses the pigs. Our adult contestants are Dr. Gary, Mary Drew, and Amber. And our YOU contestants are Olivia, Danica, and Liz. So, yeah, they're out there today. They're out there today with the poster to track the money, so you can start voting today. So, yeah.
All right. So vote with your dollars to have one of those people that were involved, one adult and one kid, to kiss the pig. Amber thinks yes. Amber, put your money where your mouth is. Yes. Thank you. She's rooting for him and he's rooting for her. Okay, excellent. It's a really fun tradition that I'm glad to have back. So, great. Okay, well, now if you all would please join me, let's bless our children to send them on their way. Be the love you are. Sing the song you hear. Share your joy of life with people far and near. And for ourselves, be the love we are. Sing the song we hear. Share our joy of life with people far and near. And now if you young ones would go back to the people you came with. Maddie, Charlotte, you guys right over there. Yeah. We used to be neighbors. Hi, Jameson. Hi, Becca. All right, if you are able, please join us and stand to say the prayer of protection, followed by the peace song. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is and always about. And that's the truth.
So don't forget this week to look for the divine winks. And so it is.